Let me ask you about the current operational situation. You are stationed in the Pokrovsk direction. It has been that way for quite a long time now. It's one of the most difficult areas, with the fiercest fighting going on there. What is the operational situation like now in your area of responsibility? How has it changed? It's summer on the calendar now. How does it compare to spring?
In the defensive zone of the 4th Operational Brigade, the enemy continues its assault operations. At the same time, if we compare, for example, a year ago to now, we see that the number of these assault actions is decreasing, and overall, the enemy's movements are also decreasing. This is because over the past year, our brigade and neighboring units have destroyed a huge number of enemy personnel. We can see that their so-called spring offensive also didn't really succeed. And the best part is that May 2026 was one of the months with the fewest enemy advances. And again, it was one of the months when even our defense forces managed to recapture some settlements overall, which is a pretty good sign. And this once again explains and demonstrates the fact that Ukraine's defense forces, including the brigades, have strength in certain areas. Rubizh is developing and evolving precisely to destroy the enemy. All the more so thanks to the forces. Thank you. With the 1st Corps and in general within Ukraine's defense forces, everything, especially the Hornet direction, is developing in the best possible way. Accordingly, the enemy's logistics are also being destroyed, and without logistics, the enemy is absolutely nothing. They're not capable of anything, and on top of that, they're already walking. They have to walk dozens of kilometers, and without even basic things like gasoline or diesel at their positions. At their positions, they can't even carry out their broadcast as things develop accordingly. Their situation keeps getting worse and worse. Let's hope it stays that way, but even so, we're expecting the enemy to definitely pull some kind of surprise on us. The enemy will definitely launch some assault operations using a large amount of motorized equipment. I'm more than sure of it. We know that the enemy is preparing for this, and what's most interesting is that they're swapping out their motor vehicles for electric bikes. And why are they doing this? It's so they can carry out assault operations as quietly as possible, because as soon as a motorcycle starts up, our guys in the infantry, you can hear it from the positions even a kilometer or two away. When a large number of motorcycles are heading our way, you can hear them, but electric bikes are quiet, so the enemy can approach our positions as quietly as possible. And since the scout pilots can't cover everything and see the entire scale of the defenses, it's obvious the enemy can slip through somewhere, so we see that the Russian enemy is still preparing for assault operations. But I'm confident that with the brigade and overall with the Ukrainian defense forces, we will stop any assaults.
Mr. Andriy, our viewers have added another 20,000 hryvnias to your fundraiser. Actually, there's already an extra 30,000 in your bank for anti-Shahed drones. And tell me, please, the drones that fly as Shahabs, Grans, that fly into the territory of Ukraine, are there cases when the enemy attacks with such means? Do they hit positions as well? Where you are stationed, how often does this happen? How common is this practice for the enemy?
Actually, right now, it's not common for the enemy to try to directly hit positions with Shaheds, Garans, or any similar type of drone. Most often these days, the Russians use Molnias, or basically reconnaissance wings. So Molnias are currently the most frequently used type of wing, kamikaze drones that the enemy uses. And again, this is exactly what increases the importance of fundraising for anti-Shahed drones. Because when our guys shoot down Shaheds directly, that's 99.9% of a Shahed that would have otherwise hit not the positions of the Ukrainian defense forces, but actually the rear areas where our Ukrainian people live. And our task basically is to stop the enemy and not let them destroy people in the rear. We're trying to do everything within our power.
Friends, it's our task together. The main thing right here and now is to support our armed forces, the guys and girls who are bravely holding back the enemy, reclaiming our land, pushing the enemy back, and to donate your 20, 50, or 100 hryvnias, whatever you can manage. Every one of us is truly capable of this. The main thing is to take part, no matter the amount. Any amount matters because it brings us together and shows that we care. And the guys and girls out there on the battlefield, believe me, they feel it. Mr. Andriy, you've already mentioned our active strikes on enemy logistics. Yes, we Ukrainians know. The Ministry of Defense has already said that we've set a course for a logistics lockdown. And how does the enemy adapt? Trying to disguise themselves, to hide their routes of movement, considering that a driver sets out and the truck might simply not make it to its destination.
In reality, since the brigade basically sees the policy, the actions of Russia in our defensive sector, we actually don't see for 100 to 200 kilometers. But at the same time, we can feel it. We feel it because when our guys work at long range and directly destroy the enemy's logistical routes, the Russians at our positions often complain that they don't even have some drones anymore. They don't have diesel to refuel the generator. So this makes their work more difficult. It definitely doesn't just stop them from advancing, it even makes it hard for them to simply hold their defense. And honestly, if we can somehow completely cut off the enemy's supply routes, they won't be able to carry out not only assault operations, they'll be completely disoriented and won't even be able to carry out defensive actions because without diesel, without gasoline, without those kinds of substances, which are literally the lifeblood of any equipment, they won't be able to do anything. And we might actually be able to carry out even more active offensive operations. Of course, that's the ideal scenario. That's what we'd like to dream about. But still, we really do want to destroy the enemy's supply routes as much as possible in order to keep holding them back, to maintain the defense at the high level it's at right now.
Our viewers have donated 50,000 hryvnias. That's what was raised for you and your fellow soldiers, both men and women, during our conversation. And right now, for the fundraiser with a goal of 800,000 hryvnias, there's already 60,000 on the balance in the positive. More than half of the fundraiser is already covered, 53%. That's why it's important, friends, to support your own. It's important to do lots of good deeds. Get involved however you can. But this good deed is yours. And honestly, it even makes your soul feel lighter when you do something useful. So I urge you to get involved and donate to support our soldiers. Mr. Andriy, how do Russian electronic warfare systems affect the work of drone operators in this area? Has it become more difficult, for example, or maybe even easier? Considering the new technologies and capabilities, how does working now compare to previous periods?
It definitely hasn't gotten any easier. The enemy's really doing everything they can to develop their electronic warfare system. There are literally 2 areas where the enemy outnumbers the Ukrainian defense forces by dozens at times. One of them is electronic warfare, which is part of the Russian Federation's arsenal, and also the number of unmanned aerial systems of various types that the Russian Federation possesses. Accordingly, unfortunately, it's hard to imagine any real improvement because the involvement of electronic warfare systems by the Russian Federation is so massive that, honestly, it's already pretty impressive when our guys are able to reach their targets. Because the enemy isn't standing still, they're developing their electronic warfare systems too. So we have to use other methods, like fiber optics, or look for different frequencies where the enemy can't jam us yet. That's actually what's happening right now with the Hornets. Where the Hornets are concerned, in practice, they find so-called dead zones where electronic warfare systems aren't as active and try to operate on those frequencies. Of course, it's obvious that the enemy will keep developing. And there are EW systems on those frequencies too. That's where the innovative nature of our forces' fight against evil, against the Russian Federation's forces, comes in. And whoever comes up with new methods faster will be more effective on the battlefield.